Hey guys, it's Mike and Ricky, and this week we are going to be talking the 5th episode of Ahsoka. How are you doing, Michael? Michael? Are you there,
Oh,
Michael?
yeah, I'm here. Sorry. It's all this rain we've been having lately. It's just it's a lot of
it is a
rain,
little rainy.
which we need, but it's just my wife thinks it's weird that I stare at the window during a heavy rainstorm. She's I don't know. It would be a lot less weird if she would just let me in.
It's the Speaking Dirty podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
Hey, nerds, this is David with Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of our generation. There is a story, it is written on our souls, and that all of these myths speak to that story. And that is why every Tuesday I talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings and whatever nerdy things we can think of with my two sons, Sam and Nate. It is a 30 to 45 minute celebration of all the weirdness that we love so much. Basically, Mom said we couldn't talk about it at the kitchen table anymore, so we decided to start a podcast. We hope you'll check it out. It's on every podcast app out there. Tatooine Sons. That's Tatooine SONS.
She'd let you in. My brain was not going there. Just
That's
was not. Sometimes you set up the joke and I'm like, I already know what the punchline.
Already know what it is.
My brain just was not going there.
That's okay. Good. That's what I do.
But you know why it rained today?
Why?
Because this is the first day of the State Fair of Oklahoma.
That's right. That's just true. That's right.
So for those of you who are not Okies, this is an annual tradition where we get very little rain for at least a month, sometimes 2 months.
Yeah.
We'll hit 100-degree weather.
Yes.
And then the first day of the Great State Fair of Oklahoma, it rains.
Yes.
It is an annual event. It doesn't really matter what day it is, it rains.
And because we've just been a drought for almost 3 months, you don't complain. You just get on the rides with the guy with the one eye and the lazy eye on the other side. And he's the one in charge of pulling the thing so your kids can go up and down on these loose bolts. And that's what we love about the State Fair.
Because that and the food.
Yes. And the food. Yes.
I only go to the State Fair to get the cinnamon rolls that are as big as your head.
I like going to the State Fair to see what can you deep fry, and they can deep fry anything. I mean,
yes,
they deep fried a homeless man's shoe. I mean, they can deep fry any. I saw it. It was the weirdest thing ever, and wasn't that bad. It was a little stringy.
Oh,
but it was good.
Oh my gosh!
Just wish they would have left the homeless man's foot out of it, but it was really good.
Well, one year, I'm pretty sure they deep fried a stick of butter. That was something you could get.
Yeah, you could get that.
Strange things at the State Fair. That is not really what we're here.
That is not what we're talking about. What's our show about?
We are going to be talking about episode 5 of Ahsoka.
Oh my goodness!
And last week I said, pretty sure we're at the end of Act 1.
I believe we are.
I think I was wrong last week, and I think the end of this episode is the end of Act 1.
Yes. This is
this was episode 5, so Act 1 was episode 1 through 5. Which probably means we're going to get an Act 2 that is episode 6 and 7. Yes. And then Act 3 is going to be really fast and high paced and it's going to be it's going to be a cliffhanger.
It's going to blow chunks out of your trunks.
We did get a slightly longer episode this week. It was 45 minutes without credits.
I did. Yeah, that was actually, it's funny. Sometimes I don't notice it. I know you can see on the timeline when you're watching the show, but I was like, man, this is actually, because I had to I had to watch it, in like bites, and then finally I thought, my goodness, it's really 45 minutes, which is fine with me. There was a lot that happened. So, we're going to talk about that tonight. But yeah, go ahead before we begin.
Before we get into that, maybe we should do some nerdy news.
I think that is a great idea.
It's time for the nerdy happenings of the week.
So every time I was scrolling down, I was going, that is a great idea. And then I found our intro. So there you go.
Welcome to my world when I have forgotten to pre-select the video.
Yes.
For those of you who are not watching us or who don't understand what we're talking about right now, we're talking about behind the scenes things that you guys don't see. All those bumpers, we don't post edit those. We actually play them live while we're doing the show.
That's right. Yes, you get what you pay for.
So now for some nerdy news. Gonna start off with box office news as always.
Of course.
Once again, we have kind of a lackluster domestic box office weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Not horrible, but not a huge box office weekend. Topping the box office was a brand new movie called The Nun 2. So if it's horror film, I don't know if you're familiar with the Nun series.
I've heard of The Nun, yeah.
Okay. So gothic supernatural horror film. It's the sequel to the original Nun, which came out in 2018.
Is Sally Field in it?
I don't think so. That would be the Flying Nun. That would be the 70s, I think.
Because that was really scary to me.
That might have actually been the 60s.
Think about it: a flying Catholic nun with a ruler flying around.
For those who are not old enough to remember that show, go look it up. So that does top the box office with $32 million domestically, and over $85 million worldwide. So not horrible, but not a great number one. Much lower than its first outing in 2018, though. So probably not a home run. Definitely a base hit. The Equalizer 3 dropped to second place. It was in first place last week with $12 million domestically, while two new releases came in third and fourth. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 and a movie I'm not familiar with called Jawan. And then that pushes Barbie all the way down to the fifth spot this week. So Barbie has finally dropped from second place all the way down to fifth place. That movie just will not die.
It will not. It's like a Frankenstein of. It's like keeps coming.
Over 3,000 theaters.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Are the movies out there just that bad? Or is Barbie really that good? Or
I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, I haven't watched it, so I have no opinion of it. Of course, it's not really my demographic, but apparently it's somebody's demographic, and there's a ton of them out there. So it's.
I mean, it's like over. It's almost 1.5 billion now, as of this recording.
Yeah,
really close to 1.5 billion. It has already exceeded the Super Mario Brothers movie that came out earlier this year. So, I mean, is a winner. Good job, Warner Brothers.
You did a good job, guys. You did. Too bad the DC part is crap, but that's okay.
So let's see. What else do I have? Oh, in Marvel news, not super exciting, but it is weird. It's a strange thing. Marvel's Werewolf by Night. You remember that show from?
Oh man, it was awesome.
The short film from last year. It's like just under an hour long. Great short film.
I loved it. The combination of the black and white and the depths, noir, the color. It was perfect. I wouldn't change a thing.
Well, that is exactly what they're doing. They're changing the whole thing. No, they've for some reason for Halloween to celebrate, the original release, I guess, they've decided to re-release it in color instead of black and white.
Wow.
I don't know why this is.
Why would you do that? It's because they're trying to think of ways to keep. I mean, I understand we have the strike. Okay. They're trying to figure out what can we do to liven up things, but really? And why is it a thing? I mean, people who love the whole. I was going to say
the whole idea of the production.
Yes.
Was the black and white, the look that it had.
Yeah.
And then you only had hints of red.
Yes.
It had such a great aesthetic.
It did.
And I don't know if it's going to work in color, but it comes out October 20th. Something no one asked for.
Yes.
And it will be on Disney Plus.
Thank you, Disney, for giving me something I don't want. Yes.
They repeatedly give me things I don't ask for. So
and they raise the price. That's awesome too.
Yes, yeah, that is true. It is going up. For those who haven't noticed or don't have Disney Plus, I repeatedly get the messages that the price will be going up.
Yes, thank you.
But anyway, so that's the thing. As far as I can tell, they're not doing anything else exciting with it, but it is re-releasing in color. So
if they were
speaking of needing to put things on TV, the writers' strike, the Writers Guild negotiations, studios claim. Now, this is from the studios, so take it with a grain of salt. The studios claim that the Writers Guild negotiations could restart next week.
Yeah.
They say every member company of the AMPTP, that is the American Motion Pictures something, is committed to.
Yes, exactly.
Committed and eager to reach a fair deal and to working together with the WGA to end the strike. That's what they said. So we'll have to see. This actually came out on Wednesday of this week that the WGA reached out to the AMTP. So AMPTP. So we'll have to see how all this goes. The last time I heard a rumor like this, it was, we're going to have a call on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Friday came and they had a call and everybody went, nope. So I don't know if this is really going to be a thing or not. Interesting enough, they say this article, this is from the Hollywood Reporter, they pretty much don't mention the actors' strike. So, because keep in mind, just because the writers, if the writers are not on strike, they still really can't do much.
Yeah,
because they don't have the actors. So we'll have to see how all that goes. Now, I will say it is interesting. I've noticed several of the daytime talk shows, and I don't really watch daytime talk shows, but I keep up with this particular thing.
Yeah.
So daytime talk shows have been coming up. Daytime talk shows are somehow they are skirting the rules.
Yeah, I read about that.
yeah, the Drew Barrymore show
Drew
and The
Barrymore, yeah.
Hawk and the Jennifer Hudson show, I guess, are saying that they're going to start doing new episodes, and somehow they're not going to be breaking the rules about
I,
not having writers. So I don't know if that means they're not going to have an opening monologue, because that has to be written.
yeah.
Or if they, I don't know. I don't exactly understand how they're going to get away with it. Also, Real Time with Bill Maher says it's going to start again. Now, that one almost makes more sense to me, because there are some bits on his show that are definitely written that he
Mm-hmm.
just reads off the screen. It's really obvious.
Yeah.
But he always has interview people.
Yes. Yeah,
So
exactly.
maybe he can get away with just doing the interviews and not doing his odd little cutaway things where he just reads and he rants. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, so that's kind of interesting. I don't know how that will all fall out. With that in mind, and the idea of we need something on TV, you're familiar with the show NCIS.
Yes. Yes, of course.
NCIS in all of its permutations, because that's the way TV works now. You get one hit show and then you just move it from city to city.
Yes.
So
Beat
you've
it
got
till it's dead.
NCIS, you've
Yep.
got NCIS Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
you've got NCIS New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
there's another one, I don't recall what it is, but apparently they approved an international one finally, called NCIS Sydney, set in Australia. It was already in production. It was already, I guess they had already completed shooting. And from my understanding of reading about it, it was never intended to come to the US. This was going to be an international show for an international audience.
Mm-hmm.
But since they don't have it, since CBS doesn't have anything to air, they
Why
are
not?
going to bring NCIS Sydney to the United States, and it will be playing on CBS right after regular NCIS. They're going to play a rerun
A
of
rerun of it, and you're
NCIS,
going to do that.
and then they're going to play a new episode of NCIS Sydney.
But
So,
my question is so foreign, for instance, Australia, Great Britain. Now they don't fall on the same terms, do they? Because it's
depends on the production.
okay.
If it's a fully British production,
Mm-hmm.
then it probably doesn't fall under the
Okay.
writers or the actors rules.
Okay.
That, like, if it's like, it has to be like a British production house
Mm-hmm.
for the British audience, distributed by a British distributor. It could probably have some American actors, but it's got to be under that big contract. Like,
Gotcha.
Warner Brothers can't just pick up and go produce something in
Oh
England.
yeah. Yeah.
That would be breaking.
Yeah.
That would be breaking the
It's like
writers
going on.
and
Oh
the
yeah.
actors rules.
Yeah. I understand
But
that.
but like the BBC could be producing something, they might be able to use some American actors in certain circumstances.
Gotcha.
I'm sure there are some other, ITV is another production house over there, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. There's so many studios over there. Like, is it Pinewood Studios? That was used for a bunch of the Star Wars stuff and a bunch of
Yeah. At
the
one time. Yeah.
yeah, and there's some weird, there's kind of some sketchy things going on with that whole
Yeah.
with this whole strike thing, because there's a couple of studios that are getting exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, technically, yes, they're considered independent because they're not part of the big six. I don't know
Yeah.
what the
I don't
big
know what
six,
that
I
is.
don't know what the
Yeah.
number is anymore. Used to be like there was the big six and you could, mark them off on your fingers.
Yeah.
A bunch of them have combined now, and I don't really know how many there are anymore. But if you're not part of that, technically you can ask for an exception. And A24 which is not really a small company, has gotten exceptions because it's technically independent. But
interesting. Okay.
So anyway,
We haven't been asked to stop what we're doing.
well,
so got that.
well, no, we're asked every week to stop what we're doing.
That's
we just
true.
ignore those letters.
Ignore them. That's the other way around. It has nothing to do with the Writers Guild or the yeah.
I mean, there's no strike, but
No.
we do have people write in every week and say, "You guys should just stop."
And those are the nice ones.
Well,
Okay.
I don't have any other news. Do you have other news?
Just a couple of things. Aquaman, the trailer came out.
Oh, yes.
And apparently the director made it very clear that this is not connected to any way with The Flash, which we wondered about because if you've seen the Flash, it ended with Aquaman and Barry. And
have you watched the trailer?
I have not seen the trailer. Have you seen it?
I've seen the trailer, and it's weird because Aquaman is now a dad. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the trailer, go watch the trailer. But it's kind of a weird thing.
It's odd.
It seems a little odd, and it does not seem like the same character we saw at the end of The Flash.
Well, no, I guess I would assume not. I guess that whole thing anyway. We did an episode on that, so you can watch that if you want.
Go watch that episode.
But, yeah. And finally, of course, we're talking Star Wars tonight, but Donald Glover, of course, we've heard that he was going to do a Lando project.
Yep.
It's official. It's not a series. They're doing an actual movie, which I think is interesting. Well, and think about it, because Kathleen Kennedy, remember a while back, said they weren't going to do any retro type of former, like with Solo.
Because Solo didn't work. So
yeah, so that means nothing else will.
Although that movie did better than a lot of movies this year.
Yes, it did.
So now you say a movie. Now I'm not a movie, not a series.
Okay, so does that mean
I never really followed this really well. I'm interested to see it, just because I think Donald Glover does a great job. I think he plays a great Lando. It really works well. But I always thought it was going to be a movie. I didn't realize it was a series. But is it going to be Disney Plus?
See, that's a good question.
Or is it going to be a theatrical? Because now that could make the difference. If Kathleen Kennedy says we're not going to make a movie, she could mean we're not going to make a theatrical movie.
Yeah.
But not necessarily not make a Disney Plus movie.
That's true.
So I'm interested to hear more about that.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I've got nothing else. So, I mean, is there anything else on your plate?
I don't have any other nerdy news that I've heard lately.
Well, I'm going to wrap that up.
And that's all for the nerdy happenings of the week.
Man, we need to hire that guy full time that does that intro.
We definitely should. He should do all of the intros.
He should do all the intros. We should have him going like 24/7, like they do like a loop. We'll just have him do a loop 24/7 on our channel.
Oh my gosh. Anyway. 24 hours of it's the nerdy happenings of the week.
Yeah, that's right. And how we make money is that we won't stop it. It's kind of like a ransom thing. They have to pay us to make it stop.
To pay it. Once we reach a certain threshold, we'll turn it off.
Pretty much that's how we're going to do a marathon for the show. We'll raise enough money, then we'll cancel the show, the series. So, yeah. That's
oh my gosh. Maybe we'll start. Maybe we'll start season 6. That's
6. Wow. Yeah.
That's another inside joke for those who aren't following along. But we've been on season 5 for about the past 2 years.
Yes. It's been one of those. Been a long season.
It's been a long season.
I think we need to figure that out. I mean,
yeah, I honestly on the podcast side, the audio side, I've stopped listening. I've stopped listening series.
Yeah,
I just put a number on it now.
Yeah, it's just for fun. But anyway, it makes it seem like we're really something, which we're not. True. So anyway, hey, what we got going up? What we got next? What's going on next?
I think we should probably do some stupid news.
Oh yeah.
It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
You've been on vacation. You like certain places. I mean, you've been to.
I've been on a few vacations, not in a while, but I've been on vacations.
You've been to New York?
I have been to New York.
You've been to New York?
Have you been to New York? I've been to the Alamo. I've been to London.
And I didn't know they had the Alamo in New York. That's awesome.
No,
what?
Not on the same trip.
No, I thought that's amazing. I thought they did a Broadway production of the Alamo. That was good. But no, I mean, so you've been to New York, and
I have been to New York.
Y'all take any tours or anything? Any kind of special tours?
We had a few tours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of made our own makeshift tour of all of the places in Central Park that Doctor Who has been to.
Oh, that's cool. That's
kind of
nerdy, and that's good. That's what you like. Yeah. Have you ever thought about going on a New York City rat tour?
A rat tour?
Not rap. It's rat.
Rat tour.
Yeah.
No.
It's the biggest thing in New York right now, my friend. That's
what kind of tour? What is a rat tour?
Apparently, tourists in New York City, they're embarking on rat tours for authentic Big Apple experience, according to a report from the New York Post. So nothing's more authentic than going on a rat tour in New York City. Kenny Bulwark, I think it's Kenny Bulwark, leads a late night rat tours that are entirely, Kenny Bulwark. I don't really matter because she has rats. But anyway, Kenny leads the late night rat tours that are entirely free, apparently, guiding visitors through
would have to be.
Through routes near Rockefeller Center and in Flushing and Sunnyside, Queens. He's also shared that rats are like the unofficial mascots of New York City. People are eager to witness them firsthand, apparently. He said he has also ventured into live streaming on TikTok, taking viewers on explorations of rat-infested areas within the city. These broadcasts has attracted as many as 10,000 viewers at a time. Is that what we need to do? Do I like to dress like a rat or something? I mean, something's not right. We're not hitting the demographic here.
Apparently not. The rat tour is beating us in the ratings.
He says one of several individuals capitalizing on their fascination.
One of several individuals?
Yes, one of several individuals fascinated with rodents. Named Luke Miller is the owner of Real New York Tours. It's another person. They make stops in near Chinatown, allowing tourists to observe the rats scurrying all about. Now, I was going to do a joke with that, but I figured we get canceled for that. But
oh my gosh.
I was going to say hold the fried rice, but I didn't say that. So Miller remarked, we can edit that out. Miller remarked they're like a new celebrities of the New York City, given all the media attention they're receiving right now. The New York Post interviewed several customers of these rat tours, some of whom specifically traveled to the city to catch a glimpse of these urban creatures. Can you believe that? Aaron Lidwell and his wife from Pennsylvania visit the city with the sole purpose of seeing rats. Lidwell was so excited to spot a few rats' tails poking out of the construction site that he even reached down and gently touched them.
Ew.
They got teeth. Okay.
All I'm going to say is,
yes,
if next season on Futurama, if they don't have an owl tour, they've missed an opportunity.
They missed an opportunity. Now, despite this newfound attraction, earlier this year, New York City Mayor Eric Adams appointed a rat czar to address the issue of rat infestation and work towards the elimination of the rats.
A rat czar.
Exactly.
I want to be a rat czar for one reason. I bet he makes a lot of
money. Yeah. Isn't that insane?
Money to not fix a problem.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, how would you do that? But yes, but speaking of rats, because they're very intelligent apparently, but also, we've had this whole AI thing going on for the past, almost for this past year, right? So
yeah.
And this might be right up your alley here. So this might be something you might be able to share on your show as well. Well, apparently artificial intelligence, of course, is often seen as a threat to jobs involving, typing or coding and stuff like that, right? Well, now making way now besides those type of jobs, they're now making waves in another unexpected profession. The role of a pastor.
Okay. Okay.
That's right. This Sunday, a church in Austin set to unveil a AI-generated worship service, sparking questions about the rise of robot ministers. However, Pastor Jay Cooper from Violet Crown City Church in North Austin, where the AI-generated sermon will debut, is quick to clarify this is a one-time experiment.
The path to robot heaven lies here in the Good Book 3.0.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. I was going to say, if you don't have a Futurama clip for the robot preacher, I was going to be
disappointed. Yeah, I'm glad I could help you on that. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Cooper explains that the decision to integrate AI into the service stems from the interest in technology and discussions with congregation members who are software developers, recognizing the inevitable of AI presence in our lives. He felt it was important for the church to address the topic and dispel any misconceptions surrounding machine learning. While the notion of AI's conjure images of robot-driven apocalypse, and Cooper remains optimistic. He believes that the potential for churches to use AI as a tool, possibly even a sacred one, he said, to contribute to the greater good. Okay. For this weekend service, Pastor Cooper employed ChatGPT to generate a sermon, although initially the output was a concise 12-minute sermon that includes a call to worship, 5 songs, pastoral prayer, and had to follow up prompts to enhance with it. While the AI-generated prayer content was surprisingly relevant, one concern shared by him and his fellow pastors came true. The sermon turned out to be basically predictably dry. Even attempts to interject humor into the sermon by requesting the jokes from GPT fell flat, and it became quite clear that the human element remains essential in the contents of worship. So I don't know how you feel about AI generated, sermons. Some people are for it and some people are against it. What do you think?
Sinners!
That's right.
Sinners!
That's right. So that is your stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling. That was brilliant.
Sinners!
Oh Oh my gosh.
Well, I think I'm going to keep that one for a while. So anyway,
oh yeah, we need to keep that one.
That's a keeper. That's right.
Yep,
For you
I like
Futurama fans. Yeah, that's a keeper.
I'm so glad now that I mentioned Futurama in the previous stupid news article.
Yeah.
Because it made so much more sense when you rolled into robot Jesus and robot,
that's right. Mm-hmm.
Robot preacher.
That's right.
But now we must give our spoiler alert.
Yes, we must do that. Will it be you or me, or we're going to do it at the same time and cancel out each other? Let's see what we can do. You're going to do it? Okay.
That was your spoiler alert.
That's
if you have not seen episode 5 of Ahsoka, just pause right now. Go watch it. It's like 45 minutes long.
45 minutes. Come back. We're here. We'll be here.
Welcome back.
Hi there. So if by chance you guys just paused us and you left for 45 minutes and you came back and we're unpaused. So, okay, now we can start. So, so this is the episode 5 of Ahsoka, which is part 5, Shadow Warrior.
Yes.
Man. So we left off last week. I don't know either, but last week we left off with Ahsoka somewhere, I don't know, fell off a cliff somewhere, I'm assuming in the ocean, and now she's in the, the world of the
world between worlds.
Yes, that's right. So anyhow, and I don't know, I can kind of give, I kind of have a synopsis. Do we want to do a synopsis, or we're just going to kind of glide through and then we do the synopsis and say, let's talk about it?
I don't know, whichever you'd prefer.
I don't know. So anyway, while investigating Ahsoka's disappearance with his mother, Jason Syndulla, they sense that Ahsoka is in the world between worlds. Anyway, so now I don't want to do a synopsis. We'll just talk about it. So anyhow, so if you've seen it, be a part of the discussion. So anyway, this is interesting to me. This is, I'm trying to think of what this might be the focus. Would you call this the show would focus on more of the rebirth of Ahsoka?
I don't.
Or
that's interesting. I don't know that this is a rebirth, but maybe she's a little more refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that this was, that we got some more Ahsoka in the Ahsoka show.
Yes,
it did not feel like the Sabine show, which it has pretty much felt like since the beginning. That's not necessarily a complaint, because this really feels more like Rebels season, live action Rebels more than the Ahsoka show. But it was nice to actually have some Ahsoka in the Ahsoka show.
I think this show is about Ahsoka who confronts her past and her mixed feelings about her former master, and she's the guilt that she has, that she's been carrying this whole time. And so, but the best part for me that I geeked out about was just a live action Clone Wars. And I'm not talking about the movie, The Clone Wars. I'm talking about the animated series, and it just gave me goosebumps. And the young lady who plays Ahsoka is, she also played, in Gamora, and the little girl Gamora.
Oh, she was young Gamora?
Yeah, she was young Gamora. I
did not realize that.
Yes, she was. Yeah,
oh, wow.
And it was the Avengers. Yeah, she was in the Avengers Infinity War in 2018. The actress name is Arena Greenblatt, and she plays the younger teenager version of Ahsoka. So, I thought that was really interesting. So,
that surprised me quite a bit. Yeah. I was not expecting a young Ahsoka.
I didn't either.
And she did a great job.
She did. And of course, and right now I'm just focusing during that piece of it was a flash. We all know it was flashback. they really did also with Anakin Skywalker. He looked a lot younger in this. It was almost he had this younger than he was,
You know, his hair changed.
Yes.
His haircut is different here in the Clone Wars than it is when he's just in the World Between Worlds.
Exactly.
Which I did think that was interesting.
Yeah, because this was more his hairstyle in the actual animated series.
Yes.
And so I thought that was that was anyway, I enjoyed that.
Somebody is definitely keeping track of things and making sure things
there's a lot of a lot of continuity there. So there's so much that has happened in this particular show. For me, I think there were several things. I loved how they just, they had the appearance of the Phase 1 clone troopers, and they went Phase 2, outfits of the stormtroopers. Yep. But really the heart of it is the Ahsoka and her former master. And I was reading in some places, some people were saying, was that really Anakin? Was that really his Force ghost, or was this something else?
That is an interesting question, and I kind of had the same question. Like, was she really in the World Between Worlds?
Yeah.
Or was this more of a mental experience?
Yeah.
Because in the from what I have seen, because I actually have seen these episodes. I never watched all of Rebels, but I've seen some of these episodes.
Yeah.
There's kind of doorways into the World Between Worlds.
Yeah.
And she kind of fell off a cliff and just arrived there.
Yeah.
Which makes me go, maybe she wasn't really in the World Between Worlds. Because if I understand this right, you enter one doorway, you can come out of a different doorway, you be in somewhere completely different, which meant theoretically she could have stayed in the World Between Worlds and gone to where Ezra is.
Exactly. A lot of people were making
that was my expectation, was that's how she was going to get there. And then if anybody else had to get there, they were going to have to find a different route.
Exactly.
So I kind of feel like maybe this wasn't real. Also, it's weird because there's the idea that Anakin is trying to train her, teach her something, is interesting. But with the glimpses and flashes of him going between Anakin as she knew him and Darth Vader in the mask, those brief little glimpses, and then the final battle with him having a red lightsaber, felt more like this wasn't real Anakin. Because real Anakin at this point in time should be kind of a good guy, right?
Yes.
Because he's
well, it's like a Dagobah, remember Luke, it's kind of like her version of the cave and the Dagobah system, and with Luke Skywalker, he had to face his fears, and so it kind of reminds me of that. And also too, I mean, I remember the series also in Rebels too, and it was a lot of it was almost like trials. It was like several trials you had to overcome, and it was all fear-based. And it seems like that's where she was going. I don't know. I really struggle between the two. There's a part of me that thinks, I would like for this to be him, showing her a lesson and some people are going that direction. Some of it feels a little different to me. It feels like, okay, this feels more like what I saw on the Rebels, where this was more of a, I don't know if it's like a, not a fear chamber or counseling chamber or mental chamber. Something was, she's fighting. There's a fight and trying to, within her consciousness, to resolve what's happening. But Anakin is there as some kind of mental figment that's helping her get through this. But I don't know.
Well, also the idea that they show up at the siege of Mandalore, and Ahsoka is there and knows what it is.
Yeah.
And Anakin wasn't there.
No, which was the siege of Mandalore, which I thought was I thought was pretty cool at the time. That was, Darth Maul was actually the leader on Mandalore. He was ruling Mandalore at the time, so you had a lot of the Mandalorians wearing these, that was allied with him, wearing these helmets that were almost kind of in honor of him. So some of the stuff they threw in here, like I said, I love the battles. You saw some of the the flying transports, the walkers. But the biggest thing for me, and I was hoping to see more of a more prominent this character, was Captain Rex. He showed up, and that was really exciting for me. One of my favorite characters. The voice was done. Now I don't know whether he was actually. I can't. Is it Tomb? Help me out here. The name of. The Book of Boba Fett. Yes.
I can never remember his name. I can never remember his name.
Morrison.
Yes. Tamura.
So this was, Tamura. So this is the first time Captain Rex is seen. He's seen for the first time in live action up to this point. And it made me want to see them do a live animated series of this, because it looked so good. And basically have the young girl, have that actress play Ahsoka, and have them, and of course I think Christian Haydenson would like jump on it. I think he would have a blast with it. And then, so I don't know, that would be awesome if they did that. That would be, hey, Disney, you want to make money, that do this right here, because I know you love money. Yeah, but true. So
another thought on the, is this a dream or was this really the world between worlds? Is the comment that Ahsoka says, Anakin, you're the same.
Yeah,
and he goes, you're old.
Yes.
And I was just checking. According to the dates, at this point, she would be like almost 50, somewhere in her late 40s at this point. But she's seeing Anakin as he was rather than as he should be in age.
Yeah,
because he would be, I don't know how much older than her he would be. Yeah, but he should be older than her.
The Return of the Jedi changed that,
Oh, I know.
I mean, Return of the Jedi, they changed that. So
he was an old man, and then he got young again. Which is weird.
Man.
I don't know.
I don't get
but that's, that. I mean, that would be the only way she's seen it. She never saw him without the mask as an old man. No. So,
she's seen him with the mask, but
yeah. So it would kind of make sense for her to see him as he was, as a younger version of himself.
Exactly. There were so many scenes in that flashback that it just nailed the feeling of the actual animated series. It would, just the mannerisms, the reactions. There was one scene I really liked where the young Ahsoka, you know, basically holds the arm of a Clone War soldier who's on a cot, has a, you know, blanket over his face, which we don't know whether it's if he was, you know,
probably because Tamura wasn't available.
Probably so. That would be it right there. We can use his voice though, but that's under contract. But yeah, I mean, it was really touching, and it was a really battle. She was battling the guilt. I mean, the guilt of, you know, leaving her master, feeling that it was her fault. She's trying to decide, why did we fight this war? You know, she says we've lost, you know, she in the dream while she's, you know, next to this clone soldier, and they have all these other clones that are out there, you know, in medic bays and being, you know, tended to. She says we lost hundreds, I mean thousands.
Right.
For what reason? And I think in the back of her mind, she's thinking, we lost all these people just for you to become Darth Vader. You know, we lost all these people because of you now becoming, you know, the death of even more people. And I think she wrestled with why, you know, why did I continue this fight? You also had the 332nd Company, which was informally known as Ahsoka Clone Troopers. So they made their debut on there. They wore the kind of the painted helmets, which I thought was really cool, which was a reference to also during the Clone Wars series, which I thought was really cool. And then you had some of the, I mean, just, you know, and I mentioned the Phase 1 helmets, you had the Phase 2 helmets. It's just, it was really a love letter for those who really love the Clone Wars. But there was one scene I really, and this is kind of the things too, where we go back and forth. And I think the big thing we're kind of having this conversation more and more is this really Anakin's ghost or not? And I'm trying to think through some of this where there was a scene, he said, you either fight or die. And she made the comment, I'm not going to fight you. And he said, I've heard that before. So
yes, which
she wouldn't had reference of that.
Yes. I was going to say, when she says, I'm not going to fight you, and he says, I've heard that before, my first thought was, okay, so this is an old Anakin. This should be an old Anakin if he's heard that before. Because that is Luke to him on the second Death Star. I'm not going to fight you, Father. So that's where I think things get a little muddled. And it makes me think that it's not really Anakin. I mean, it can be Anakin if you wanted to be Anakin, but I feel like this was really all in her head.
Yeah.
Because all the locations are a reference to her, you know. And yes, he says he's not done training her, but I don't know that she really learned anything. I mean, I'm a little confused as to what she really learned here.
I know at the very end, it was almost at the very end of this, as far as the conversation between the two at the very end, it was almost like, you know, she grabbed his saber, she grabbed hers, and she just threw him. And he made the comment. What was the comment? Something about you learned after all, or something like that. Do you remember the comment at the very end? It was almost like that was supposed to be her lesson, which still kinds of, if anybody out there can articulate any better than we can, put it in the comments. But again, I think that's the biggest debate for me, was that him or not? And some people go, what's the difference? I said, well, I mean, what's the big deal? To me, it's kind of a big deal because it really sets the pace for what this was, you know, for me anyway, because you have two camps out there. And I mean, really, you're going to have a lot of people going to argue over it, but
Yeah.
I think, but through this too, we find, Jason's, you can tell that he's more force sensitive. He's
Oh,
actually,
absolutely.
they're there, Hera comes back, and Chopper, and of course, Captain Taver, they're there trying to, search for where's Ahsoka, where's Sabine. Of course, we know Sabine is, now in chains, and she went off on this hyperspace thing towards finding Thrawn,
Yes.
so we know that's going on, but Jason finally realizes, he says, "Mom, do you hear this?" And there's in the waves. He said, "I just hear waves," and he hears the lightsabers, and
Yeah.
he hears it, and so is he? Again, this is force. So he's feeling this. Going back to what we're talking about. So was there really a fight going on in the force?
Yeah,
Because
that's where
he hears the lightsabers. So
that's the one thing that makes me go, okay, maybe they're implying it's real. It's really the world between worlds, because otherwise why would Jason hear it? But
yeah,
maybe he just hears Ahsoka, and Ahsoka is projecting this. And I don't know that we ever will have a firm answer to that. I mean,
you don't think Filoni's going to tell us? He's not going to
I
lead us
don't
in the right
I don't know
direction.
that Filoni's gonna. I think Filoni's gonna let us all flounder with this one.
A
I mean,
floundering Filoni.
we know that that dead Jedis can show up as Force ghosts.
Yes, so can Han Solo,
So
apparently. Yeah.
with that in mind, I mean, they could be as real as as a forced ghost can be, I guess.
I thought you were going to bust out in a song there for a minute. uh, I so yeah, I think a guy who has not been given a whole lot of kudos in all of this is, is David Tennant. David
Oh my
Tennant
goodness.
was
Yes.
so good in this.
Yes,
He
he was.
so much emotion in this. And it's when they find Sabine's helmet, and you have Hera walks around the corner, and she sees Huyen,
Mm-hmm.
and he's holding a helmet, and he says over and over again, "I told them to stay together. They never listen. They
Yeah.
never listen."
Yeah.
And
It was a great line.
it was a great line. And the thing about him, it's almost like, and we said the same thing about with Mandalorian. It's somehow there's a mask, there's a helmet, there's no physical expression,
Yeah.
but you can. It's almost like you see an expression, like there's something going on there. It's like the very last scene where you have Ahsoka, convinces the space whales to open their mouth so they can go inside, and Huyang is saying, so they're going to take us where we need to go, and she basically says, "Hope so." And he's looking at her, and then he looks at the camera, and even though there's nothing that's static, you pick up on it. I mean, you pick it
Now
to me.
he does. To be fair, he does have some weird eyelid things that help a little bit.
Does
but
it?
Yes, there. His eyes actually change shape just a little bit,
That
which does help some. But at the same time, the rest of his face is completely frozen in place.
Yeah.
But he definitely they work their magic, and they somehow make these droids have emotions with no features.
Yeah.
I mean, even Chopper's the same way.
Oh, exactly.
It's like all he can really do is bob his head a little bit, but you get the idea, whether he's happy or sad, or they were able to do that with R2 with just with just his chirping and weird sounds.
I,
It's one of the things Star Wars does brilliantly.
Yeah, they really do.
Somehow they make robots have emotions.
I would be terribly mistaken if I would not mention that Senator Organa. Yes. Captain Tevor mentions that Seneca Organa has stalled for Hera while they complete their mission. That's interesting. They mentioned her. The first time they mentioned Leia within the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
So I think, I was kind of waiting for some of that, because we talked about this before. There's other things going on in the background. You have, because during this time period, she's a senator. She, her son probably is already born.
Yes.
Ben, which means that Han is still with them, because I don't think Han left until after what happened to Ben with Skywalker.
Yeah, that's a little unclear to me as to when Han leaves the family.
I almost think it has to do with after they decide that they would have him go to stay with his uncle Luke, and then things happened, and I think, but anyway, that's my own.
Speaking of the New Republic, I think one thing that I think is odd, in all of this, is that when she's talking to, when Hera is talking to, is it Mon Mothma that she's talking to?
Yes.
She, Mon Mothma asks if you have any evidence, and Hera says no. And my first thought was, well, they have a little evidence, because there was a huge circle of metal.
Yes.
That they have some scans on, at least.
Yes.
That is no longer there.
Yeah, it was almost like it really interests me, the distrust they have in this general that they give, all this authority to, and they think it's just a personal venture to find her friend Ezra, but there's so much more there, and it goes back to this whole thing about just this floundering, republic that has, walking around like Mr. Magoo that has no idea, what they're doing. It's the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing in this. But one of my scenes is where, Captain Tevor is trying to, he doesn't want to tell them what actually is going on. They're asking, okay, where is Captain Hera? With General Hera, and where is Ahsoka? And of course, he finally, because he's being threatened that he's going to lose his rank and position, he says, well, you're not going to believe me. And so then all of a sudden you have the space whales going through the Republic fleet, the new Republic fleet. And
we all knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, we knew that. We all knew that.
Yeah. Once Ahsoka showed back up and it was clear that the world between worlds was not how she was going to get there, I think it was abundantly obvious that the Purgles were going to be the way they were going to get there. See, my thought was Ahsoka would go through the world between worlds, and then Hera would tag along afterwards using the Purgles. That was that was what I thought would happen, but obviously not. I did think this was interesting to me. And I don't know if this is one of those, is this meaningful? Or is this just happens to be a thing? When Ahsoka wakes up.
Yes.
And, she kind of has this new plan. Everything in the world is brighter now.
Yes.
All the scenery, all the set, everything is just brighter now.
Yes.
She's wearing this white shawl thing that I'm not sure she's worn yet. Just the whole feel of like that shot right there. The whole feel of the episode has changed color-wise.
Yeah, she basically became Gandalf. She has
That was
the
exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, she's
yeah,
Ahsoka the White now.
yes. So, which in the animated series she did where she did. There was a reference to that, but yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I noticed that too. It's all suddenly things are. I mean, it's a lot more cleaner and tidier.
Yeah.
So I
She
don't
has a
know.
bit of a smirk and smile on her face, and
Yes, exactly.
and
Yeah, there's a lot more calmness and peace to her. Something about
yes,
this. Something about this has taken away whatever been gnawing her, whatever demons it's been, on
yeah,
her for the past many years. I think she finally comes to terms with what's going on.
yeah.
The big question is, we're going to see Thrawn, Lex. We're going to see Thrawn in the next episode. You think? You think? You think? You think? You
Don't
think?
I don't know. Uh, I'm I'm really afraid Thrawn is going to be there for like 30 seconds, and we're going to have credits, and then it's going to be. But wait, there's more when the movie comes out.
I mean, they could do. I mean, the
I
thing is,
hate that. If that's what they do, I
yeah,
will be very disappointed. But we've only got 3 more episodes left
yeah.
of this season of
Now,
this series.
what I would like to see, and they could go this direction too, is that this entire episode coming up is Thrawn, and focuses on him.
Now
They
that's a possibility.
they focus on him. There's proof that Ezra is still alive,
Mhm.
and that we will see that part of it. Maybe the next episode is where now we see, Ahsoka, they find him, they find where he's at, and somehow, you know, I don't know. Do we follow the Timothy Zahn story in this at all? I don't know. Where there's actually a battle, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that we'll see the original Heir to the Empire story at all.
No, we're not.
But
I just know they take bits and pieces out, and so
yeah,
what pieces do they take out?
yeah.
But
I think if we do see Thrawn,
yeah,
I don't know that there will be much of a big battle.
yeah,
I really feel like we're going to leave. As much as I don't want a cliffhanger, I really feel like the season is going to end with a big cliffhanger.
well, yeah,
For
I think
the
so
movie.
too. Yeah,
But I do think Thrawn will finally get back. I do hope we see some Thrawn next episode.
yeah,
I really, really want to see. This is one of those things. I'm pitching this as an idea.
yeah,
I want to see Baylan start training Sabine.
mm,
Sabine have a Jedi Force breakthrough, and she actually does have access.
mm-hmm.
And she only gets it because of Baylan. And Shin gets really nervous that Baylan is trying to replace her with
Yeah,
Sabine.
yeah.
I want to see that story. I don't know if that's really the story that they're going to write, but that's the story I want to see.
Who knows at this point? I mean, I haven't. I mean, who knows at this point? We've been wrong several times before. I mean,
Yeah, we'll be wrong again.
yeah. Now there's one series we did pretty good on, but that's a different show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. There's again, we're back to the situation where we only know there's a couple episodes left, and we know there's a lot that's going to happen, and so are we going to bounce around, or are we going to be able to have maybe hopefully another longer episode of 45 minutes? Who knows? A lot happened.
I feel like the next episode needs to focus on Morgan and Thrawn and Balin. I think it needs to focus on that side of the story.
Yeah,
I feel like we're going to have a lot less Ahsoka in this next episode.
I agree with that, and I think we're going to see her come back around, maybe at the very end of this coming episode, where the
Purgles arrive.
Yes, basically, yes, that's right. The Purgles.
We're going to have a small galaxy again.
Yes, we will.
And the Purgles will just happen to show up in exactly the right place.
And that's what they do.
The right
exactly the right time. Because that's what Purgles do, right?
Yep. So now we're in, a big space whale, and we're gonna jump to hyperspace.
That's what I normally
in a big space whale.
So that's exactly, you knew that had to come up eventually.
Oh, I knew it was going to happen eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I do like the fact that they actually bother to call them space whales.
Yes. That's good.
We don't keep calling them Purgles. I mean, yes, they're obviously space whales, so we're just going to call them space whales.
And that's a good thing. It's they do. One thing I thought was really cool, they did make when Jason was sensing the Force and he knew that Ahsoka was out there, Hera, made sure that Captain Taver and his squad went out and scanned the area.
Yeah.
But Taver's trying to figure out, okay, what is going on and why are we relying on this kid? And finally, he's being told that, his dad was a Jedi. And so they make reference of Canis and, Kanan Jarrus. Thank you. Words are hard. Yeah. Yes. And,
I love the scene. I love the scene where the, what's the robot's name? David Tennant.
Yes.
Hu Yang, where Hu Yang takes Jason into the ship. And he's like, a Jedi ship? Yeah. I want to see a Jedi ship. I'll show him the training room. Are you going to train me? Will you train me? No. Do you know how to build a lightsaber? Yes. Will you teach me? No. I love it.
I love that. Yeah, I love that they made reference to that. He also, Jason made reference of the made it very known that, him and his mother was talking and she made the reference. Yes, they saved their lives. The space whale saved their lives, and made reference to the space whales taking away the bad man and Ezra. So in that comment, basically slowly they basically made the canon more and more obvious to the Rebel story. I don't know. Do you have any expectations? Anything that, besides anything that you're hoping to see or something? I mean, I know you mentioned a few things besides what you talked about. Is there anything else that you would like to see from this, or
from the next episode, or from the series?
I think from the series, because we only have two more?
Three more.
Okay. What would you like? Let's play this game. By the end of this series, what would you like to see?
I would like to see Sabine actually become a Jedi, or at least start training properly and actually have Force abilities. I think it would be interesting to have Balin the one who helps her break through that barrier.
Yeah.
Rather than Ahsoka. I do want to see Ezra more.
Yes.
I mean, we've cast an actually a decent actor. So far we've seen him for 30 seconds on a hologram.
A communicator, yes.
Yeah. So So it would be nice to actually see Ezra in action. um, but what else do I want to see? I want to see Thrawn. I want to see Thrawn have a great monologue.
Yes.
Because he's such a great actor.
Well, that's what I mean. And I would be very upset if all I saw was Mickelson is just 30 seconds at the end.
Yeah,
that would be
I would be
a waste.
Yeah, I would be super disappointed if that was the case. I want to see a reason for there to be a big reason for the movie that they're going to make later.
Yeah, I do too.
Because right now I feel like I don't have, other than just Thrawn returned somehow. I don't have a big feeling for what the direction of the new movie is going to be.
Yeah,
because I hope we're going to see some kind of explanation for what that's going to look like and why.
Right now, it just feels like a series. It just feels like, for me, you can just do season 2 of Ahsoka, and then we have a continuation of what's going on.
That could be interesting. That would be nice if rather than just having a movie somewhere in the future, if we had Thrawn return, and now we have a season 2 of Ahsoka where she and Thrawn are at battle, regular basis.
Yes,
where he is attacking places and she is chasing him down the whole season. That could be fun.
That could be fun. Yeah, because I think because how are you going to keep people's attention if we're not looking at? I mean, this can't be it. I mean, this can't be the cliffhanger until we have the movie. I mean, there's going to be too much time lapsing in that.
Too much time, and right now there's not a good. I don't have a good reason if Thrawn is the big bad in the movie.
Yeah,
I don't have a good reason for Boba Fett or the Mandalorian to show up in the movie at this point.
No, I'm the same way. I don't either. I almost think there has to be a bigger threat.
Yeah, a bigger
for a movie. I'm talking about if we're going to do a theatrical movie off of this. I mean, Thrawn is awesome, but
I think Thrawn could be a big enough threat, but I think he needs more build up.
Well, exactly.
And he needs a reason. We need a reason to get those other characters into, because right now, if Thrawn suddenly returns and starts messing with the Republic in general, then you've got a reason for everybody on the Ahsoka show to show back up.
Yeah.
But you don't have a good reason for Boba Fett to show up at all.
No.
And you don't have a very compelling reason for the Mandalorian to show up.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless their planets are in danger. They just
and it's the outer rim too, which was a place where originally Thrawn was assigned to, the outer rim during the war. I guess I'm going off of the books, but that's where he was. So I don't know. It's, for me, I would like to see Jason somehow, start training as a young, as a youngling. I would like for him being taught by Yang. That would be really cool, because I think that would be Yang. I can't.
I don't know. Hu Yang.
Hu Yang. Well,
I don't know if it's right or not.
But because I think that would be such. I could see the two of them doing their own little series. He's training. Jason. And I think that would be. I would like to see that.
You know what would be fun?
What's that?
This is what I think would be funny. If Hu Yang was training Jason, and Sabine got to see him training Jason.
Yeah.
And he was treating Jason exactly the same way he treats Sabine.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's better or not.
Yes.
He just treats, and she has the sudden realization that it's not me. He treats everybody like this.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I think that would be, because that is like the epitome of a teacher.
Yeah.
No, I'm not treating you badly. I treat everyone like this. It's not that I'm just hard on you.
And let's go even further. I know this is not happen. I know we're running out of time. We're past time probably, but Sabine becomes the master and Jason becomes the apprentice.
The apprentice. That is a thought that has run through my head, but I feel like she's not there yet.
No. I mean, she can't move a cup. So, I mean, we're not, you can't move a cup with the Force. Get out of here. Well, folks, I think we just wasted your time as much as we can. Yes, man, we're 20 past the hour. My goodness. Yeah. And so, anyway, I really enjoyed this episode.
I did too.
Made me psych about seeing the Clone Wars in a live action format. Yes. And Filoni, please, this is a great opportunity. Go ahead and do it. Make a live action series out of this. And then next week, my guess, focus on Elizabeth, Elsbeth, and Thrawn and Morgan Freeman. And, because he will show up. Morgan Freeman always shows up. I don't care. He'll show up. Hopefully Samuel Jackson will show up. I would like to see his ghost. His ghost gives the finger. And I think that would be awesome. So I think we'll I don't know. What do you think, my friend? Do you think we've done everything we basically can?
I think we've beaten this horse as hard as we can.
Sinners!
That's right. Well, it's time to end it on that. And folks, you know where we're at. We're on speakingnerdy.com, where we have our video podcast, audio podcast. You can go to youtube.com/speakingnerdy. You have all our YouTube videos there. You also can go to Spotify, Apple, all those great places where you like to hear your audio podcasts. We're on there also. So just pick and choose. And next week, we're going to talk about episode 6 of Ahsoka, and hopefully we'll have a nice 45-minute long episode there we'll be able to watch, and be sure to watch it. Join us Friday. We're here every Friday. Well, we try to be out on Fridays, but anyway, you have anything, my friend?
I don't have anything else.
All right.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe. Oh, my goodness. We worked hard for the money. We worked hard for the money.
Something like that.
Working hard for the money. Come on, people. Everybody out there start clapping. Hard for the money. I'm working hard for the money. Come on, don't
know
stop.
That there was that much money.
Hard for the money, huh? I'm working hard for the money.
That's what she said.
Working hard for the money.